familiar to the extent that I watched 5 minutes of this man on the History Channel once. That is to say, I've seen some of these pictures before.
You've seen this person's type, or you've seen him specifically on the History Channel?
No, I've seen this guy that you have to double take every time you look at him and just be like, is this a guy that plays a postman that gets shot up in mafia films? You guys were talking about that beforehand.
When you look them up and you go into their history, they've done quite a lot. Like they helped build the largest floating structure in the world. Helped Abu Dhabi Airport. Worked on Missile Defense Agency for the United States. Like,
yeah,
there's like a lot.
So they just do whatever they feel like? Is that their business?
Well, it sounds like they're hired by
making a flotation device and then making missiles are very different things.
Yeah, but that's why they've got 18,500 people. They've got some people who are good at missiles and some people who are good at flotation devices, I guess.
This is so good. Just guessing their corporate structure.
That's the red thread. And it's known for its research and assistance in creating the first atomic bomb. But Raymond didn't bring Andrew to Lanel the normal way. No. Andrew alleges that they were teleported from New Jersey.
Damn!
Why?
Big call.
Take a flight.
And what, in the 60s?
In the 60s. But for such a innocuous visit as well, just to teleport to some lab, essentially. Andrew has explained that when someone jumps through this radiant energy, their inertia opens up a vortex tunnel in time-space. Which, the science is there. I believe him. He's describing what is basically like a Rick and Morty portal, I think.
Yeah, he really is. Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
And it kind of is like Rick and Morty when you think about it. He's like traveling through time with his like father figure as well. Maybe he just watched Rick and Morty. He's basing it all of that. Andrew describes the device as simply being plugged into a power outlet on the wall, needing only a little bit more than a normal household appliance energy to operate.
You know what's incredible? This is the first part that I find somewhat questionable.
This is where you started to think, that doesn't quite make sense.
I did pause when I read that. I was like, what?
Just plug you into the power outlet. Why would you make that
call as well? Because that, out of everything else, I think it's also just the basic psychology of somebody is if someone said, I traveled through time, you'd be, well, you got to tell me more, you know? But then just saying something along the lines of, and it takes little more energy than an everyday kettle. It's all of a sudden it just sounds like you're trying to upsell me at Retrovision.
Yeah, I was going to say, he sounds like a salesperson.
That type of lie. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, and you can pre-order it now at my website, andrew.basiago.com.
I know, it's basically just like, you're really saving energy on this. Just think about how much energy you use to fly places.
They were very eco. Well, yeah, actually, maybe that was his argument. Because he does have kind of like an eco platform later on, especially when we get to some of the later details. He talks about how more environmentally friendly teleportation was, so maybe that's why he
man, I always feel so bad about this. It's always why are the eco warriors always nutbags? Always. If you really care about the planet, you're always just a bit off kilter, you know.
Well, I think you're gonna get hate for that. First of all, you're gonna frustrate a lot of eco warriors
from the nutters, though. I mean, look, I am somebody that has done some very big environmental causes in my life, like raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for it and stuff. But man, I don't consider myself as like a normie, you know? Like I think I'm a bit fucking off hinge. Like the whole time I'm reading this being like, yeah, you had psychic powers. Get to the interesting part, you know? Like so.
It's not good enough for you. I was thinking about this while I was reading. Would you prefer to be sent back in time or forward in time?
Oh, back in time.
Yeah,
sure.
Same, absolutely. And the reason for me why I would choose back in time, because the future is like a gamble, right? You don't know what you're going to get. You could like time travel like 50 years in the future, 100 years in the future, even like a millennia in the future. It could just be boring or nothing. It could be like nothing exciting. It could be the end of the world, or it could just be society as it is now, basically. Who knows? But with going back in time, you kind of know broadly what you're going to get. Like if I travel back to the dinosaurs, I know I'm going to get some cool dinosaur moments.
Wait, hang on. Is that why you want to go back in time?
Yeah, I want to see dinosaurs. What's wrong with that?
Just because
You have no idea the lifelong obsession Jackson has had with dinosaurs.
Well, why do you want to go back in time?
You know what? I honestly can think of like 3 or 4 major historical events that I just want to give a go at. Just maybe go back in time to Caesar and say, look, man, I know that soothsayers and your wife have both begged you not to go into the Senate, but I've traveled back in time. You can see my sneakers here now. Just don't do it. And see if he's just like, fuck off. And also, why aren't you speaking Latin? And then like,
Yeah, you would have to get over like the translation issues. I think you're gonna show him sneakers and he's gonna stab you for them.
all right, so all right, do you go back in time effectively? You would have to learn the ancient language of the time to a point where you're at least conversational. So there's already a huge problem there.
Yes.
So look, actually, you're one of just going back and seeing dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'm not gonna need to talk to
It
them.
might just be you go back in time, and you immediately get eaten.
Yeah, I mean, but I'd be the only human ever eaten by a dinosaur.
Look,
No. Actually, wait. Okay. If I go back in time, get eaten by a dinosaur, I'm going to be rediscovered in the future as like skeletal remains in a dinosaur's stomach. It's just going to be incredible. People are going to be like, they have their minds blown that there was one single human back then who got eaten by a dinosaur somehow. That's going to be fucking awesome. I'll go down in history. I was just going to say, I just really want to see dinosaurs.
oh wait, so you can come back as well. So you can go into the future
Well,
and then
I
come back
assume-
at a whim.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. I assumed we were coming back. Are you staying with Caesar? Are you like renting? Are you renting one of his Roman villas? Like, what's happening? You just staying there forever?
Shit, dude, I did not think this too far ahead.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I think that's what happens. You just have to stay there, and they're just like, well, we've got pipes, but they've got a lot of lead in them. Good luck.
You're gonna have to get used to shitting in the streets. You're gonna have to like borrow a couch off Caesar.
Yeah, and I also just assume that I'll go there and I'll just like, put a yo-yo in front of the most powerful men on earth, and they'll be enamored by it and be like, well, he has to just live in a villa. He's obviously going to have a great life.
Live like a king.
Yeah, but maybe they'll probably just do that and I'll get executed.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're either gonna get like seen as a witch and killed immediately, or they're gonna expect such great things from you that you can't deliver. Like they'll think of you as a god, and your only ability was bringing them sneakers from the future. Like, what are you gonna do from there? You're like, shit, I'm out of ideas.
Oh my god, yeah, okay, then the pressure's really on because you're gonna have to sit there and be a soothsayer for the rest of your life.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, as soon as you have one answer where you're like, I don't know, they're gonna fucking execute you on the spot for being a liar.
Yeah, all right. Look, wait, hang on, Kira, what would you do?
Yeah. You've heard both arguments.
Oh my god, I don't know. Now I feel stressed.
It is stressful, isn't it?
Yeah, time travel is stressful. That's why
Especially if you add the little pretext of you can't come back.
I'd go back to when he claims this happened and see if it happened.
Oh yeah, go.
Oh, what a waste of a trip. It's like, it's so obvious it didn't.
What if it did?
You're like a time travel cuck. You went back in time just to see a person actually time travel. I often think about that, what life would be like now if some other species generated took over, essentially evolved to the point of humanity, essentially, like if we were giant salamanders instead.
Why salamanders? It's not it's not the animal that I think is next in line. You know?
I have no clue why salamanders came directly into my brain then. That must be my reptile DNA.
Yeah, you're really pro reptiles. It's sick.
I am apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Due to the nature of this work, they saw it important to get into his research papers first, which could prove useful to the war effort. Nikola Tesla had been one of the few individuals that claimed to have invented the death ray.
What is he, a Star
So
Wars
Nikola
villain?
Tesla made as wild claims as this unassuming postman did.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla was the original Andrew Basiago.
Far out. Okay, I didn't know that.
He was tasked with bringing back information on significant events like President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, which was famously undocumented until this point when Andrew brought back the information. Yeah. Luckily, they sent him back in time to find out what the fuck happened then.
See, and this is incredible. Like, right, this next dot point, Jackson, come on, hero. This is...
It's true.
This is... I can't believe this. He admits that he did not see the assassination itself. He's
I was
not,
just in the
he's
audience.
not endlessly just pushing the envelope and saying, I
I saw everything.
You know?
Yeah. We were best friends. But of course, that does fall apart when he starts talking about how Barack Obama came to visit him on Mars. Like you can't walk your way out of that one. If you're talking about that, you may as well say you were best friends with Lincoln as well. Like, come on, Andrew. Yeah, so he admits that he didn't see the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, but he does claim that he traveled to the theater on the night of Lincoln's death a number of times and even heard the fatal shot.
I believe it.
A number of times.
Yeah, he went multiple times. He loved it.
Reliving it.
Yeah. Obsessive almost.
He suffered more than Lincoln did.
He's in a purgatory of his own making.
Yeah.
Oh,
What a
so
scary
good.
Groundhog Day to be trapped in.
It's such a random one too. Like
Yeah.
you're forced to relive the night of Abraham Lincoln's death, but never close enough to actually see it. You just hear the gunshot. Like, why?
Is that what he's claiming? That's so good. Well, so he's always just running towards the gunshot, just being like, Mr. Lincoln! Over.
He's just shouting. He doesn't even make it into the theater. He's just shouting from outside, Mr. Lincoln, get down! And then he hears the gunshot before he can make
never
it.
heard, because Lincoln famously was partially deaf.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't hear him over the gunshot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Why not time travel into the room then if you want to save him?
I don't know.
All right. Knowing Andrew Basiago, though, he'd teleport himself directly in between the bullets somehow and get shot by the assassin. Oh, God, it's so good.
That'd be great if in the history books, all of a sudden, we just took it for granted. It's just known that mysteriously this child that had the same haircut as the Beatles got in the way of the bullet. And that's just how we know.
It just popped up out of nowhere. Yeah, that's actually in the book.
That is our history.
Another big claim. And so we're just going through kind of a dot point of his big claims at this point.
All right.
This one came out of left field for me. I was like, how did this get into this document? Like, what is this? So he claims that the Sasquatch is real and that he saw two when he was 4 years old in August of 1966. Its use for teleportation was not originally known until Project Pegasus was created to examine the device. He was told that its true purpose came to light when a technician walked through the energy field needing a screwdriver that was on the other side of the room and they just disappeared. The others in the room thought he had disintegrated and died. It wasn't until 6 weeks or months, Andrew is unsure, later when the technician appeared back at the lab that they realized the potential of the device. This technician had fallen through what seemed like a tunnel and ended up in Africa. What?
I don't know what that last sentence means.
Dude, I'm getting dizzy.
Me
I'm
too.
getting dizzy from the information overload here. So they discovered that this device was able to teleport people because a technician walked through it to get a screwdriver on the other side of the device when he then erroneously was teleported to Africa. Was workplace safety not a thing at this time?
I really feel like this guy is that for fantasy? This is a combination of Harry Potter, Animorphs. It's like it's all the kids' books.
I think, he's definitely taken, and I'll preface this by a big if he's lying here and none of this is true, he's definitely taken a lot of this stuff from different fantasy worlds and books and stuff like that. And
No, I think they've taken it from him.
Okay.
Like even the fact that they've got the time-traveling guy that comes into the president's office and says, here's your agenda over the next 4 years, and I'm not forcing you into this agenda. This is just what the space-time continuum says you'll do. That's very much like the Minister of Magic portrait in the Prime Minister's office.
Have you just been on a Harry Potter binge recently or something?
No, I just often think about that. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it's one of those things. This is what happens with fantasy, and it's a big reason why I try to stay clear of it, because I think that I'm too stupid and naive for my subconscious brain to separate the two. But there is moments in my life where I'm just sitting on a train or a car or something, and then I'll be like, yeah, Keir Starmer has one of those portraits, and he consults with the Minister of Magic every now and then.
And see, this is why you're the perfect Red Thread host.
What? Why is that a good thing?
Why is that a good thing? It's because you have the incredible ability to see the truth in the world.
Or imagine what could be.
Well, that's a sad sentence. If they survived. If they survived, they would then be adopted into American families as a reward. Andrew recognized...
This is a great sentence. Kira, did you write that?
Yeah, she wrote this.
Well, that I admire how you want to stick to the facts and the record of the account. Now,
Andrew
with that in
recognizes
mind,
this
yes, Jason, please read this sentence out. It's incredible.
Andrew recognizes this as a big issue of human rights. He stands against it.
I told you he was a moral guy.
He's a very moral guy, yeah. But he also stresses that no child died and that they were then also adopted, so maybe it was a good thing. In retrospect.
Yes,
Not a
the
good
grace
thing.
of morality.
If I was going to make a conspiracy theory, though, I'd do the same thing. I'm not going to write about how much of a loser I am.
Yeah. But again, if you were trying to be more credible, you would try and write yourself as a flawed character.
Well, that was mean. If you were being honest, Jackson, you'd write yourself as a giant fucking loser.
If you were being honest.
Kira, what about you? Have you experienced either of those things?
No, never.
Yeah,
You've
Kira's...
never had one.
No,
You,
never.
you have the best sleep. You sleep so well. I'm always so jealous of your sleep. And also the fact that whenever you wake up, you have beautiful, pleasant, like, girl dreams. Like, just very like, you'll dream about going to the shops or something and getting, like, your favorite product or drinking a nice tea or something. Like, my dreams are so fucked up in comparison. Like, my teeth are falling out and I'm desperately trying to keep the teeth
I've
in my
dreamt that
mouth.
my teeth are falling out before. But most of my dreams are some sort of strange variation on real life. There was that one really cool dream where I dreamt that I was walking a path near my parents' house and it just suddenly turned into this massive, like, Arctic zoo. That was really cool.
Why can't I have dreams like that?
Yeah, that's
Instead
great.
of getting like, instead of
was
getting
awesome.
slowly devoured by a giant spider constantly. Fuck. So jealous.
Jesus Christ. Slowly as well. It's not even quick.
Yeah. When he was in the 2040s, he would pick up data scrolls that would then be handed over to the government when he would travel back. So you're right. It basically is like the fucking thing where the guy like just pops into the president's office and hands him a document and then vanishes through a portal. It is literally that.
Well, he's saying it.
He's saying it, so it must be true. That's as good as an argument as any for this, really. Well, he's saying it.
Honestly, it's the way that you have to go about this, isn't it?
Okay, so you're going to love this section because it's got to do with aliens, so you can take this one.
Traveling to Mars and Barack Obama? Circling back to one of Andrew's biggest claims.
That's the chapter title, by the way, for the people in the audience. Wait, were they breeding were the Martians like entirely grub people, and then like this grub human mix was like a byproduct of them crossbreeding? Potentially?
Yeah, see, this is very annoying that he really gleans over the grub man and man slowly turning insane that doesn't seem to have any access to oxygen.
That's why he's going insane. Extreme oxygen deprivation.
But we don't know because he's so scant on this part. He glosses over this.
This isn't important.
He goes into great detail about like, just being like, if you look here, this looks like a skull on Mars. That's in like, he's going on about that forever. I did not know that Theodore Roosevelt claimed that he saw a Sasquatch. There you go.
I love the end of this slide. That's the best
piece of evidence that I've seen it. Huh?
I love the end of this slide about his policy on the Sasquatch. It says the president should protect the Sasquatch by putting them on the endangered species list.
Yeah. As he should.
So
as
good.
He should.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 policy. They're all quite inconsequential policies, really, aren't they? Apart from the first one, which is extremely consequential.
Yeah.
But these two here so far is just like, yeah, why not? If you want to do
the
that.
The next one's pretty consequential, especially in the modern era.
Promoting egg consumption as a development tool?
Eggs are getting expensive. It's the opposite of what Andrew wanted, by the way. The modern era is the opposite of what Andrew wanted.
Yeah, they've always got weird theories about health, don't they?
Well, just eggs. Why is eggs such a common topic in politics at the moment? It has been forever.
National literacy rates are directly correlated with national rates of daily per capita egg consumption. Really?
Is that true? Wait, so he says national
should launch a global development initiative based on promoting the production and consumption of eggs. The goal should be 1 egg per person per day.
Sorry, vegans.
What did you say, Kira?
I said sorry, vegans.
Yeah, dumb vegans.
No.
Well, they're not able to read. I feel like
honestly, I'm weirded out by this policy the most because it's just so left of field. He's never talked about it once. I don't know if there's any evidence that correlates to this.
Yeah, is there?
It's just a really strange one to chuck in.
Hey, commenters out there, leave some comments below about if this is true. If you've noticed an increase in your intelligence upon eating 1 egg per day.